And this topic is very important, as Dr. Sahu said, open source GIS and the software QGIS. My name is Prasoon. I am working with IIRS Dehradun since about 13 years now, and we've been working with this software from the beginning. So this software has evolved rapidly, and it is an up-to-date and modern GIS software which is capable of doing all the things that you want to do on a GIS software. So I have a few slides, approximately. I'll talk through the slides for about 30 minutes. Then we will do a hands-on exercise on QGIS, which I will first demonstrate, and then step-by-step instructions are given in a PDF file, which Dr. Sahu is mailing to you sometime. And once you receive it, you can do it step by step. So in case you join now, since we'll be doing the exercise later, you can just open Google and search for the term QGIS. It will take you to this website, welcome to QGIS project, and there should be a download button there. If you are on Windows operating system, you should not have a problem. It is about a 300 megabyte file. You can download 64-bit version and install it. It is about 300 to 400 MB. So by the time we actually do the hands-on, hopefully you will have already installed it. Okay. So I want to, before we go directly into QGIS, what is QGIS? I know there has been a class on GIS, so I wanted to make a complete chain from the beginning. So GIS is basically an information system. We wish you could call it a software. You could call it a software system. It's basically an information system which helps you manage geospatial data. What is geospatial data? Geospatial data is a data which has a location or a spatial reference. So a system allows you to store or integrate or edit or analyze, share, display. If a system allows you to do all these things with spatial data, then it is called a GIS or a GIS system. So in earlier days, before software-based GIS systems were available, paper maps were made by hand, and updating the map would mean redrawing them. So if there is some change or some new road has come up or some area has changed, so updating a map meant that you had to redraw the map from scratch. But after GIS came, all the data is there on a computer, on a software system. After GIS came, all the data is on a software system, so you only update the data and the map gets prepared quickly. So the turnaround time is reduced in a lot of ways to make better maps, updated maps, and come up with them faster. GIS is not only a software; it is there are multiple components in this. So there are hardware involved. You have your surveying devices or GPS receivers. These are all scanners, printers. These are all coming under hardware. Then you have the software.
मगर कोई आके ऐसे बोलता है पढ़ता है ना अच्छा नहीं लगता ऐसे ऐसे दिखाया ठीक है
Or pen trays, hexagons, all these. And then there are open source softwares. Then you have lots of data. Data could be coming from satellite. It could be coming from field surveys. It could be coming from topo sheets, survey of India maps. So a lot of data sources are there. Then you have a network and a trained manpower which work on GIS to come up with actionable data. So the topic of interest today is the software, and then again within software there are multiple types. The first primary categorization is there are some softwares which you pay for, and then there are some softwares which are free. The paid softwares are normally licensed, as in you have to purchase a license from somebody to use, or some company to use that software. And some softwares have an open license, as in it is not that they do not have a license, but they have a permissive license. An example of a permissive license is something called General Public License, or GPL, a software which is released under GPL. The license term says that you can use it, you can modify it, and then further sell it also. So these are permissive licenses. These are licenses which allow you to do things. Whereas a copyrighted software doesn't allow you to change the software. It just allows you to use the software. You can install it, purchase it, install it, use it, end of story. Whereas if you use an open source software, you have several freedoms. We will talk about these freedoms in the next few slides. There is a, you could say, stricter form of open source called copyleft, which allows users to keep it open source throughout its lifetime. So all that things are there.
भेज दिया शेयर प्रॉफिट नहीं दे रहा यार मेरा जो शेयर है वो उतना प्रॉफिट नहीं दे रहा
not something very new. It is not that it has dropped out of sky.
फिर बाद में खरीदा ऊपर में खरीदा
It has been there
428 में मैंने खरीदा था 440 तक गया
and you all have been using it
200 खरीदा
without knowing that you
1000-2000 प्रॉफिट म्यूचुअल फंड ठीक दे रहा है म्यूचुअल फंड अभी हो गया है मेरा
So if I ask
60-70 हज़ार हो
if I take a poll and out of 104 people attending right now, and if I ask them which software do you use to listen,
वो अभी नहीं देना चाहिए
watch your movies on
4 बजे देना 4
क्या बोल रहा है
Saurabh, are you getting my audio?
Yes sir.
yes sir
So you're audible to us?
Yes sir.
Audio? Audible.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, you are audible. So if I take a poll out of 100 people, I guess about 90% would tell, or 90 people would tell that they are using VLC and not Windows Media Player. Windows Media Player is a licensed product, whereas VLC is an open source product. And majority of the people are using an open source software to do this. Similarly, a lot of people would be using either Firefox as your browser as compared to
टाइम होगा नहीं यार
Edge.
हम फिर वो क्लोज करेंगे सर ये नहीं हो रहा वो नहीं हो रहा
So,
उनको हम करके दिखा देंगे और वीडियो भेजेंगे चलो
and they are very popular, very powerful. A lot of you are in academia, so you probably use a learning management system, and it is probably based out of a software called Moodle. Those who are interested in statistics, numerical programming, have probably heard of the R language, Python language, PHP. Even you trust your money on open source. Actually, all the transactions that you do on internet are based on this secure security like or let's say secure framework called SSL, which is itself open source. The operating system Linux, the 80% of all the websites are hosted on Apache servers. So your websites, your programs, your databases, these are all working on open source, and it is not different for GIS also. So open source is the industry standard. Everybody uses it. It is not something new and not something very unique. So there's some inambiguity in whether open source just means free, as in you don't need to pay for it. So free software and open software are different terms. Here, by open source, we mean that you have a certain amount of freedom or liberty, which is not linked to price. So it is more about free speech rather than free lunch. Open source software allow you to have the freedom to run the program for any purpose. You may have read the news or something that certain countries have applied embargo on India. We cannot purchase software, or we cannot. If we buy a software, we can only use it for certain purposes. So, for example, a company can sell the software to maybe your college, but they cannot sell it to ISRO or DRDO because they use it for some other strategic purposes. So, all these kinds of restrictions are not there in open source software. You have the freedom to run the program for any purpose. You have access to the source code. That is the main thing about open source. You have so any software is what? It's a bunch of computer code. You've heard of C++, Java, Python, these languages. So you write the software in the language, and if you are just giving the installer or the exe, that is a closed source, but if you give the actual software program, then it is open source. So if you have the actual program, then you have access to the code, you can study how it works, you can change how it works. You are free to redistribute copies, you are free to redistribute copies of modified versions of the software. You think you can make the software better, you are free to do that. And if you think you've made it much better than the original version and you deserve to get monetary benefit from it, yes, that also, certain licenses do allow that also. It is in fact very sad that all the paid softwares today also in GIS are in the background using open source softwares or open source modules. Not the entire thing is not open source, but certain modules which are available freely, and people find value in paying for it, so, which I don't. Why is this important? Why has HouseUp made sure that we had a session on this? Because it is important in terms of the market size it occupies. A lot of you have been working with GIS or plan to work with GIS, and that planning is because you've come to know that there is a lot of scope in this. And that scope is because GIS has a very big market share. According to a report in 2018, it is estimated to reach about $500 billion US in 2020. A little old data, but just trying to put the point across that it is a very big business. And in this business, about 75% of the money goes into software and software services. So if you plan to leave academia and start a business, it is best to start with selling GIS software because it is big business. Not only the software, but the providing annual maintenances, people who work with the software, patches, testing, maintenance. So all that entire software service industry has about 75% of the entire market share. So we talked about GIS, a lot of open source softwares in general, but in GIS or geoinformatics also there are a huge number of open source softwares. The list that I am showing here is only the ones which are, you could say, well maintained and has a larger user group. But there are more. There are at least 10 times more than there are on this slide, even more. But these are the ones which are more popular. If you are starting new or if you want to switch from a paid software to open software, these are the which you should look into first. So for example, if you are a simple desktop user, as in you want to create some maps, analyze data, make some web-based maps and all, you should start with QGIS, that is the one we will be demonstrating. If you are
उन्हीं का सॉफ्टवेयर उन्हीं का ही कर रहे थे।
If you are going towards Java, Java is in fact the most popular.
एक बार हमने यूज पे किए थे, बहुत मुश्किल होता था।
To jump,
Jump भी है।
several, you could say flavors of jump. Open jump is one
का क्या बना फिर?
popular. Java Unified, nothing.
Wetland।
And those who are in this GIS industry for a long time, 30 years old,
मैं आपको भेज देता हूँ, पहले check कर लो।
this was initially a paid software which was made by ITC, the Naval and then in
जो चला रहे हो
somewhere in
वो कह रहे हैं कि जो
they
सेंसर है ना
open sourced it. Now organization called 52 North looks after this. So Ilvis is another open source software that
थर्मल हमको जरूरत नहीं है।
this is made by some
जो
German.
वाटर करेंगे थर्मल क्या क्या जरूरत है? हम थोड़ी सी सरफेस टेम्परेचर पढ़ रहे हैं। थर्मल हटाओ, हाइपरस्पेक्ट्रल डालो, बस।
And if you
Please
already
add
know
all
all
this.
this, and you want
हाइपरस्पेक्ट्रल
more
ऐसा कौन देगा?
more power,
देखो।
more functionalities, so you
नहीं,
start
नहीं,
looking at Glass GIS.
मल्टीस्पेक्ट्रल
Glass GIS, the beginning is very interesting.
हाइपरस्पेक्ट्रल में कुछ तो निकलेगा।
It was open
डालो और
source.
डायरेक्ट से डिस्कस करते हैं। राइट
50 लाख का तो स्केल हो गया ड्रोन
है।
And it was just under development and being used by the US Army since before that. And in 1984 they decided, okay, let's make it open source, and since then, so it is one of the oldest softwares and most powerful software today. But it has a certain cryptic interface, mostly command line. Again, that they are changing slowly. But yeah, if you are an expert user, you can look into Glass. Also, for data producers, if you are in an organization which makes data on a regular basis, on a high frequency basis, then you should look into also. Then for special databases, you have MySQL, PostGIS. If you are into coding, programming, you must know Jadal, GeoTools, Proj. These are different libraries. If you want to make a web map, like something like Google Maps or Rowan, and all that websites that you see, which put maps in your browser, then you have to learn these softwares, GeoServer,
मैं क्या बोल रहा था, पहले लिख दो हाइपरस्पेक्ट्रल सबका, डाल के कॉस्ट बनाते हैं 70-80 लाख का, फिर डायरेक्टर से डिस्कस करते हैं। फिर अगर वो बोलता है कि हाइपरस्पेक्ट्रल हटा दो, मतलब थोड़ा कम कॉस्ट करो, तो कम कॉस्ट वो मना कभी नहीं करेंगे। मगर ये देखना है कि अगर हम हाइपरस्पेक्ट्रल ना लें तो हमारा या तो मल्टीस्पेक्ट्रल हटा दो,
or you can browse the data. Then there are very nice derived products, Earth observation derived products like NDVI, NDWI.
8 लाख वो हट जाएगा, 8 लाख हट जाएगा,
Different types of data.
40 लाख में हो जाएगा।
satellite images
Drone.
are available here. So this platform is completely an open source platform. They made it ground up using open source software like MySQL, PostGIS, GeoServer, OpenLayers, and all these technologies.
Platform.
Then the visualization tools, cataloging tools, and I talk about these field data collection tools. If you are more into data from the field,
मशीनरी 4 लाख की
and
वो मतलब प्रोसेसिंग उसके फीचर्स ही
you
अलग है
can use this open data kit or
50 लाख का आपको ये पड़ेगा
2 real time
15 लाख JRL,
developed by IIS for field data collection.
3 लाख PLC.
अरे 25 लगा लो मैंने 56 का बने ना 25 ऐड और कर दो 25 लाख डालो
So I'll just briefly tell about some of the important GIS software which are there out there today. One is obviously QGIS. The reason behind its popularity, it's very user friendly. It has a very good community. So if you are facing any problems, if you want to learn more, there are a number of YouTube videos. If there are very good documentation, and there are very good people in the community. As in, you heard of Stack Exchange and these different websites. Even they have a Telegram group where they help out people with their GIS issues. So that is why QGIS has become very popular. It's open source. It is primarily a GIS client, as in it works on your personal computer, on your laptop, or on your desktop. It allows you to visualize, basically manage.
हमारा नेटवर्क प्रॉब्लम है भाई.
हमारा
प्रॉब्लम कहाँ से लगे भाई?
In Windows version like Windows 7 or Windows 10 or so it runs on all these different operating systems. Many of the paid softwares only works on Windows, doesn't work on Mac or doesn't work on Linux. So that way QGIS helps you a lot. And it supports several layers or
टॉकिंग कर दे.
several formats.
कैमरा ऊपर.
Like if you work with
ऊपर
vector data, if you have a KML file or a shape file, a geo package, JSON, even legacy formats like example, most of the tagline data comes as TIFF, modest data comes as HDF, certain meteorological data comes in XDF, then ERDA's IMP files. All these different file formats can be added seamlessly without changing it to some other format. Just drag and drop in QGIS and it works.
Image processing.
So these are that is about QGIS.
वो क्या रहा है भाई? हमारा इंटरनेट तो है ना?
Then we talk about GRASS. GRASS is a powerful raster vector and geospatial processing engine software. The best thing about GRASS is it has tools to do your modeling So it is not only about adding data and making maps, but the next step is to use it to create some models, find out how nature works, predict how it works, and stuff like that. So spatial modeling, visualization, management of data, processing of satellite aerial imagery, temporal framework for time series processing, Python API, and high performance software. So that these are all good things about GRASS. Then I was talking about this module some time back. So Jidal or Moodle, that is how it is pronounced, is a C++ library which allows you to read and write raster and vector data. And since a lot of you know about ArcGIS, till before 9.3 or 9.6, they had their own module for reading and writing raster and vector data. But Jidal became so popular and so powerful that they, in the later versions, ArcGIS 10 onwards, they ditched their own library and they use an open source library. That is Jidal. Obviously, they put a wrapper around it and they added more functionality, but the core is still Jidal. And Jidal is a permissive, or you could say LGPL licensed open source library. And the whole world uses it. Even Google Earth, the Google Earth, the application that you use to browse the data, is also using Jidal in the background. So Jidal is one of the most popular libraries, code libraries, which is used to work with geospatial data. And so if you know programming, or if you think you want to write your own code to handle it, then you a library called Jidal. Then PostGIS is the database which is popularly used for handling geospatial data. If you
और 5 दिन में आएगा
making web apps,
30 तारीख के बाद ना
GeoServer or some other software which looks like GeoServer. It's basically a web server which allows you to serve maps, as in create or host a web application which gives out maps.
डायरेक्टर को 5 स्लाइड करके दे देना है जो पुराना जो इकट्ठा करके
standards like WMS, WFS, and so on. And it is very popular, very powerful. Then GeoServer is just publishing the data, but to make it beautiful, to make it more aesthetically better, to make it useful, then you use these different mapping libraries like OL3 or OpenLayers 3 and Leaflet. These are different new technologies which are there, which help you make these really nice zoom in, zoom out with all that click and those different multiple options that you get, smooth transitions and all that, using HTML5 and WebGL. So all this is done through this library called OpenLayers. Lastly, I want to talk about different data collection toolkits. So these are basically open source tools. Earlier, they were there. ODK, Open Data Kit, has been there for a long time. But after it had this thing where it could store location data, then it has become more popular. Or the GeoODK version of it has become more popular. So basically, the idea behind this is, let's say you are doing some data collection. You have to do door-to-door survey. You have to collect some data. Then how would you normally do? You have a team of people. Everybody has their notepad and a pen and maybe a GPS receiver or something. And you go from one house to another house. You collect the data. You write it down. And then when you come back to your lab, you enter that into an Excel sheet. Some paper flies away, some get destroyed, some gets coffee spilled on it. and there is loss of data. Somebody's handwriting is unrecognizable. So there's a loss of data from field to so there is some loss of data from the field to the actual application, computer application. So to avoid that, you can have a mobile-based data collection. Like as soon as you collect the data and you enter it, it immediately gets uploaded to the server. So there is no manual intervention in between. So whatever data you want to collect, like text data, pictures, GPS, you note it down. It is entered into Excel sheet kind of a thing. It's called the XForm Designer, and that gets uploaded to your mobile. You have to install an app called ODK Collect, and that's it. And then you collect the data. It gets synced in real time to the server, and the person sitting on the server or person with authentication can view the data in real time, getting updated. And it is a simple app. You could have multiple options, like let's say you want to collect data about the building. So whether it is what type it is, residential, commercial, how many stories, number of basements, what is the load system and all that. So these are different. So you could have something like a multiple choice answer, you could have numbers, you could have text, you could have date, time, location, image, audio, video, barcode, lot of things. So all this, so this makes life very easy in collecting data, and all this data is in real time, gets updated on the server, where along with the, so this is an example where along with the location, there are images, there are other attributes which have been collected from the field. And this data can be then, the text data or the nominal ordinal data can be made into bar graphs, pie charts, the locations can be made into maps and so on. So there are several softwares to do this kind of job. ODK, GeoODK are the popular ones. A new upcoming software is Input App. Then there's an app developed by IARS called Q Real Time. This is also getting very popular. It recently won some awards and has large number of downloads in the App Store. So are these only theoretical? Am I promoting some product or something? So the government of India is using it on a very large scale. It is not something which is in textbooks only. So this was done in post Uttarakhand disaster in 2013, the Kedarnath disaster, where a lot of people and a lot of property was lost. So to assess the damage, about 4 universities collaborated, and they had this mobile app where they went to all these extremely difficult places to reach and took pictures and entered data into whether the building is damaged, or roads are damaged, or bridges are damaged. And using all these, roughly about 30,000 points which were collected, real-time damage assessment was done so that help can be provided to the needy people. So there are several such softwares, QGIS, ODK, these are just the tip of the iceberg. Several times what happens is people find it difficult to install or to use these softwares. So there's a very easy way you can use this. There's a website called OSGeo Live. If you go there, you can download a 4 GB file, which is an ISO file. You can burn it on your DVD, like write it on a DVD or a CD, DVD, and then boot your system. Put it in your drive and restart your system. You have multiple GIS softwares: desktop, database, navigation, web services, all these pre-installed. You will get a new interface actually. This is based on the Ubuntu operating system with all these softwares pre-installed, along with the help and along with some sample data. You could also download a virtual machine if you know about this VirtualBox. You can run it directly on your Windows machine using this virtual machine copy. And if any of this interests you, and if you think you could want to use it on a different platform, like a school or a college for a geography syllabus or a biology syllabus, you can go to this website called osgeo.org/resources, and there are links to other training material on GIS available there.
इसको ज़्यादा फीडबैक मिलेगा अच्छा.
So the focus of today's session is QGIS. QGIS has a very strict release cycle.
Yeah, hydrological applications बहुत है इसमें.
So every 15 days or every 1 month they come up with a newer version. So it is regularly updated. If there is any problem with the software, or if they want to come up with new features, so every 15 days or 20 days you get a newer version. So it is not like the traditional softwares which get updated every year.
Open source GIS.
Every month you have a newer version.
इसमें ले ही नहीं
There are
सकते.
popular and good books.
सब open source से बताना पड़ेगा.
Written by Kurt Mencken.
QGIS कम करता है इसका border है ना, R and वो करता है.
Then there are other books for like map design and hydrological applications. It's a very powerful software. You could do elevation profiling, network analysis, land use classification, lot of different avenues where QGIS can be used. I have some nice videos. So all these are done in QGIS. Here we are showing how buildings in Lower Manhattan can be visualized in 3 dimension. So if you have building data and their heights, in this I have built this. So all the COVID cases district-wise was available, and this basically shows how it changed in Uttar Pradesh between April and October 2020. So you see these urban centers, Noida, Lucknow, Kanpur. First the outbreak started here, and then it spread throughout Uttar Pradesh. And then there's a new thing, a new type of data that they are coming up with called mesh data. These are useful for making these kind of hydrological flow analysis, hydraulic analysis, and all that. So there are several ways QGIS is being used, not only just to add raster vector data and your GPS point and make a map and all that, but there are very advanced functionalities. Unfortunately, we will not go into detail of these today, but yes, these are also possible in QGIS. So where would you learn all this? There are many places you could learn. Today YouTube is very popular, so YouTube is a place where you can start learning. Just type QGIS and in your language of choice. You want QGIS in Hindi, you want QGIS in Bengali, whatever. There are videos available there. Probably you'll come across somewhere I am telling you about QGIS. So there's a guy called Ujjwal Gandhi. Earlier, I had a Salakmani earlier in Google, where he's made this very good tutorials right from the beginning, basic how to make a map to programming on QGIS. Everything is available on this website. Second is this project called Spoken Tutorial. A lot of you are in academia, so you've probably heard of this initiative before. So they have different videos in different languages for all these open source things like Python, programming languages, open source software and all. So they also have tutorials on QGIS. Then there are some tutorials with a set of 3 videos along with data and all that, where you could learn about QGIS, which is made by me. So that is on this link, bit.ly/QGIS-IARS. And of course, the official documentation itself is very good. That should be your go-to option. But yeah, very exhaustive. So these are different places where you could learn QGIS. And so now we directly jump into a little hands-on on QGIS and see how much we can do today. So before we go that, if you have any questions, we can take some now.
Thank you. Now you can ask the questions to Dr. Prasun Gupta directly, and switch up your camera and mute yourself.
There are some questions on the chat box.
Yeah.
This is somebody is asking about 32-bit, 64-bit. So, basically, if you go to your wherever in your computer, just a second. QGIS, so you can simply go to this link qgis.org and download. I told you during the Q&A session how to check whether your system is 32-bit or 64-bit and install it from there. If you are on a MacBook or if you are on a Ubuntu operating system, there are set of separate instructions on their website. You can follow those and get it installed. So this is the website. There is a download now button. Go there and download the standalone installer. In the beginning, there are something called network installers and all. You don't need those. Just go down further. There is a standalone installer. Use the latest release. That should be enough. I am doing on this one. The version I am using currently is, I think, 3.16. That is the stable version, which was last released. But you can use either of them. Should not be a problem. So I'm using 3.16. You can use 3.18. They are very similar. You will not notice any difference. Okay, once you've downloaded and installed it in your programs, you will see that I'm not sure it is visible because this GoToMeeting hides this thing. Let me put it on Paint. One second. So once you install it, you will see in your Start menu QGIS 3.18 folder. Inside that, there are many softwares: GRASS, GeoShell, Desktop, QGIS Desktop, with GRASS, Saga GIS, many other things. Okay. So you basically need this QGIS Desktop, but if you're doing higher functionalities which include GRASS, then you can start this one, QGIS Desktop with GRASS. I use it as my default option because you never know what you are going to use. So this is the safest option to start, QGIS Desktop with GRASS. But if this is not working, then you can use QGIS Desktop. Everything that you will see today can be done using QGIS desktop 3.16 or 3.18. Okay. So once you've installed it, next step is we'll add some district boundaries. Now this is a vector file. Now, what is a vector file? I think there will be some more sessions on GIS. We'll talk about, I think tomorrow morning session is on GIS data types. So they'll explain to you what is raster, what is a vector and all that. So right now we are going to add one vector data, which is the district file. Okay. Now officially, again, I know people will not listen and they will ask again. Officially, I cannot give you, or I don't have, you can say, the India district file. There is only one person who can give you, which is Survey of India. Okay, Survey of India is the only body in the country which has the authority to give you the right boundaries. May it be international boundaries, may it be Indian boundaries, state boundaries, whatever boundaries you want, you please. If you want authentic boundaries, you contact Survey of India. But if you want a vector file to show your students what is vector data, what does the district map of India look like, can you do some analysis using that, then you please use this file which I am sharing here. This is generally, there is a website called GitHub where people put their programs, codes and all that. There are a bunch of people who make, there's an NGO called DataMeet which makes shape files for different things, like even in some, for states or districts and village boundaries in some cases, railway line data. A lot of data they are making for free and putting it here. You can obviously take it from here. It is free of cost. You don't even need to log in. But again and again, I'm telling you, this is not the authentic data. This is generalized data. Generalization करके एक semester subject. I cannot cover it in 20 minutes now. So it is generalized data. It is wrong data. It is just for training and demonstration purposes. You cannot take this data and go to court saying DataMeet वालों को arrest करो, उन्होंने गलत इंडिया का नाम डाला. This is a toy data set. Toy data set क्या होता है? अब समझो क्या होता है. This is not the authentic district boundaries of the country. This is a toy data set. This is just for making you understand what is vector data and how to add it in GIS, how to visualize it, how to query it and all that. Okay? So what you have to do, you have to just click on this link. It will open a browser. You will see a lot of numbers. Okay? And what you have to do, you have to just press Ctrl S or save this file, Ctrl S in your keyboard, and save this file in your today's folder. So I am saving this file India districts.json. The extension is .json. Now JSON is I already have it here. So JSON is a newer type of data which is better for web.
Sorry for me. Can you please repeat? Which particular file I will have to select?
This file when you yes.
I opened that data, but that Indian district map is this particular file. I opened that data. Just before that, I click on.
Satish ji, your voice is not clear. Satish ji, your voice is not clear. So can you write in the chat box?
Yeah, sir, I will write.
So all you have to do is just click on this link here. You will get this PDF after the class. Just focus on what I am trying to tell you. Then you can do it after the class. So all you have to do is just click on this link given in this PDF. It will open a browser and you will see a lot of articles. Save this file. Save it as, and let's say I'm saving on my desktop. Click on save first. इतना ही करना है. ज़्यादा कोई rocket नहीं बना. ठीक है. So you have to click on this link given in the PDF and you can download this file. Again, I'm telling you, this is a toy data set. This is not the actual district file of the country. Please मेरे पीछे बंदूक लेके मत आना सर, ये मेरा डिस्ट्रिक्ट गलत दिखा दिया इसमें. मैंने नहीं बनाया, तो मेरे को इंटरनेट पे मिला, मैंने आपको दिया. आपको अच्छा लगा लो, नहीं अच्छा लगा where are you? So once you save it, you will see on your desktop a file which appears like this, Indian District 2019. So these districts keep updating. If you want to ask a question, please put it on the chat box. Please unmute yourself. I will never be able to finish by 4:30.
Please, I request you all, please mute yourself. Otherwise, we will not finish this lecture and there will be lots of technical glitches. So please bear with us. Please. I will definitely share you the hands-on PDF right after this session. So whatever you want to do, you can do in your home, in your desktop. Just listen carefully and see what he wants to teach you. Thank you.
Lavani ji, again, the only authority in the country we are in, the Republic of India, to share updated latest legal files is Survey of India. Please search their website and get the data by there on payment basis. I am not the authority to give the shape file of the country or district file or village file, any file. We are not the authority to share it.
I can say it.
Just like you, I did a Google search, district file of India, I found something I am sharing with you for this demonstration purpose. So this is a newer file format. Normally, we know shape files or we know AutoCAD files or KML files. This is a more newer format, more recent format called JSON, and it is used mainly for disseminating data through the web. Through the internet, vector data is easily published or easily downloadable through this format called JSON. It is similar to a shapefile. It has my boundaries, it has attribute data, everything in a single file. Okay. So how do I? So once you install QGIS, you start QGIS desktop. You should see an interface like this. This is where your map is displayed. On the right side, you will see processing toolbox. On the left side, you will see a browser. You can directly go to your drives and download data. Add data to QGIS. Your data is listed here, and your options. This is called the menu bar. Edit, view, layer, settings, plugins, and all that. Dr. Arora will talk about a lot of these things tomorrow. I'm just focusing on how to add some basic data and how to make a map. Okay, that is the focus of this session. No 3D, no network analysis, no hydrology, nothing I'm going to show in this session. If you are interested more in QGIS, please feel free to go to our website and join for more longer courses like MTech, PG Diploma, certificate. We do a lot of things and we teach this software much in detail. Okay, and all that information is on there on our website. There's a PRSC is also doing MTech. You can go join them also. But आधे घंटे के session में don't expect कि हम magic दिखाएंगे. We will just show how to make a nice map. Okay. So we have downloaded the district boundary. Let's add it. How to add it? कुछ नहीं, ज़्यादा rocket science नहीं है. इधर से drag करना है और यहाँ क्या करना है? Drop. Drag and drop. आप लोग सब और सारा कंप्यूटर यूज करते हो तो ड्रैग एंड ड्रॉप समझते हो. You have to pick this file and drop into QGIS, and there you go. You have 734 districts as per 2019. Obviously, these are dynamic. Some districts get reorganized. So this is not the latest, not the best, not authentic, but usable. So now we have some data in GIS. How do I view the data? There are these viewing tools are there. You can zoom in using this magnifying glasses, zoom out. You can see the whole image. So you can use this magnifier, zoom to a specific area. Or now you can see that these boundaries are generalized, as in they are not following the actual line, the actual boundary, but they are more at a more coarser scale. They are generalized boundaries, and you can use these tools. Your hand to pan. You can use also your scroll, your mouse ka scroll wheel to scroll in and zoom out, like I am trying to do here, and then your hand to pan this. Okay. So this is what vector data normally looks like. You have polygons. There are 3 types of vector data: point, line, polygon. ये सब पर detail में आपको बताएंगे. Then there are some attributes. There are some non-spatial data which is linked with this spatial data. This is our spatial data. This boundaries are on my spatial data. Then there are some non-spatial data which is linked to it. So what you do is you right-click on this layer name and you go to something called attribute table, and here you will see that for each polygon there is a row which is linked to it. So you have different districts. Let me sort them. If I have to sort it, I just click on the name. Now it gets sorted by district name. So I see here Trilabad, Adabad, Himachal, Aizawl, so on up to right down to Yavatmal, so on in alphabetical one. Similarly, I could sort it by state. So first I am seeing all the districts in Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Then I am seeing all the districts in Andhra Pradesh, and then Arunachal, and so on. So now each row is linked with each polygon. So if I scroll down to, let's say, Odisha, and I select the rows. So Balangir, Baleshwar. So you see these polygons get highlighted. So this polygon is Balangir, this is Baleshwar, this is Bargarh, Bhadra, Cuttack, and I can drag and select all of them, all the सारे district हैं. So 29, it should be 30 districts of Odisha. You can select. You can save it like a separate file and things like that. Okay. So जैसे I want to select Ludhiana district. Okay. So you could either search it in this list कि भाई Ludhiana कहाँ है, or you can do what is known as a attribute query. This is my attribute table. I can query it. I can ask certain queries. Okay. Now these queries could be text based. Give me a polygon where this column district has the value Ludhiana, or this state name has the value Odisha, things like that, or based on the area which are greater than 400 square kilometers. So several types of queries can be made depending on how you want to search the data. So for right now, I just want to find out where is Ludhiana. Similar thing you will do for your own district. Where is Pune? Where is Chandigarh? Where is Kolkata? Where is your district? Okay. So what you have to do first is you have to write a query. Where will you write a query? So there is a small button here in the attribute table box, which looks like a summation sign, sort of a summation sign. And if you bring your mouse over it, it will say select feature using an expression. So once you click on it, you will get a box, very bare box, but it is very powerful. So what we need to do is we need to fire a query based on our district column. On this column, the district. So in this select by expression box, expand this option which says fields and say district equal to, then say all unique, so it will list all the unique values in district, and I want LNLU. Double click on this Ludhiana. So basically you will create a query like this, district equal to Ludhiana or whatever is your district name. This is case sensitive, so L small will create a problem. This has to be in capital or as given in this column. So once you click select feature, and you see one row got highlighted here. That means after running this query, one row was matched. Let me close this box, and you will see in the attribute table it says one is selected. This is one polygon which is selected. Same thing when you do it for your district. Select one polygon which belongs to your district. Next, क्या करना है sir? You have to save this as a separate file. We'll save this as a new file. So right click export, right click on the layer name here, and click on export, save selected feature. We don't want to save everything. We don't want to save the entire file again. We just want to save the selected feature. So save selected feature as, okay, now you could save it in different formats. You could save it like a shapefile, you could save it like a JSON, KML. If you want to open in Google Earth, you save it like a KML. Or you could, so there are several formats. I will use the basic shapefile format. Next, we need to tell where to save. So you have to click on this browse button and click on save and
Selected coordinates.
386, and it has by default selected only the selected feature. So 2-3 things we have to do. We have to make sure that the format is history shapefile, provide the path, where is this going, specify the CRS, and make sure this option is ticked. And click on OK. What it will do, it will, I am just turning this off. You see it has created a new file which has only your district. Right click on this layer, go to zoom to layer. First option, zoom to layer. You will see that only your district has been, you could say, kind of extracted out of all the districts in India and shown here. Okay. So right now, this India district file has done away its utility. We don't need it. I'm just interested in this Ludhiana file. So I'll remove this file. And I am only interested in this Ludhiana boundary. Okay. So what we have done till now, we've downloaded vector data, we've added it to QGIS, we have run a query, and we are able to extract a polygon or set of polygons from a file and save it as a new file. Okay. सर आप तो एकदम फर्राटेदार बता रहे जा रहे हो, हमें कैसे होगा? सर आप सिंपल इंस्ट्रक्शंस फॉलो करना, रेड बॉक्स में करके दिखाना है। इससे सिंपल हम अपने बच्चों को नहीं बताते यार, ठीक है? ड्रैग एंड ड्रॉप हियर, right click on this, go to open attribute table with English steps and pictures with red boxes are being shown. I don't think we could go. I think all of your postgraduate students are higher in this, so I think this should be enough. How to write your query, how to select a feature, how to export a feature, select this reshape file, and so on. So don't worry, all the steps with screenshots are given in this PDF, which will be shared with you. अभी next क्या करेंगे? Vector data डाला है. Now we will try to symbolize it. We will try to change its color in simple words. Okay, so for that we need a panel called layer styling panel. Some people may already see it here. There is a panel called layer styling. Button sir, where should I look for it? Okay, so you have to right click on this layer name, and there is a option which says open attribute table. साफ PDF भेजो इन लोगों को, वो मेरा जान खा जाएंगे।
अच्छा नहीं है।
So sorry.
Sir, please continue. We will take the PDF later on. Please continue.
Right. So, next thing I'm trying to do is I'm trying to change its color. So, normally if you have several polygons based on the land use, you would change the color. So there are different use cases. If you made a map before, you would know why and what color to give. Right now, I'm trying to show a newer thing. So normally we fill the color inside a polygon or on the feature. What I'm trying to show now is how to fill the color outside the color. This is a unique case, and you will understand its utility a few steps down the line. So what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to fill the color outside the polygon. That option is called an inverted polygon or inverted fill. Okay. Now, if you don't see this layer styling panel in your interface, there are view panels and layer styling. This is where your layer styling panel can be activated and deactivated. So if you don't see the layer styling panel here, you have to click on view and panels and the layer styling panel to activate it. In layer styling panel, you have several options. One of them is inverted polygons. What does inverted polygon do? It fills the color outside. Inside it is hollow. Okay. I'll tell you the use a bit later. But right now, just understand that I am trying to fill the color outside. Okay. What color should I use? Very simply, you could use white. But now you don't see the difference which is hollow and which is white. For that, you could use a very light shade of blue, something like this. Okay. Next. So this is very simple. Next thing we can also, I'll be also adding the name of the district here later. This layer styling panel is very useful. It helps you put colors, put labels, that is text, and all that stuff. Next thing we'll do is we will add some raster data. Raster data कहाँ से मिलेगा? Normally satellite data you can download from Bhuvan or USGS, Earth Explorer. There's several ways to do it. But for this session, I wanted just a second. for this session, I wanted you guys not to get into all those technicalities, but instead have a feel of what a 10-meter satellite data would look like. Okay. So to add that data, what I am going to do now is I am going to show you a technology called WMS or Web Map Service, and a lot of So what is WMS? WMS is basically data, raster data which is published on the web. Published means which is available on the web. You cannot download it, but you can consume it in QGIS. This is a small difference. Download means you will have it like a file in your system. But consuming means you will see it in QGIS, but you are not having it like a file in your system. That is the only difference. The next time you want to view it, connect to internet and it will be there, available to you. But it cannot be downloaded, but rather it is being streamed on the internet. It is like watching Netflix. All of you can watch. All of you watch Netflix, I know. You don't store the movie file. Pehle you download it, open VLC, watch it. Now you open Netflix app and you watch it. Same difference is here. Now you are not downloading the satellite data, rather you are streaming it from the internet. Okay. Netflix was a good example. So how do we add this? So this data we are getting from this company called EOX. They have made these cloudless. Generally, satellite data has clouds and all that. And since we are a tropical country, cloud is a very big problem in optical data. So what they have done is created annual cloudless composites. So you have 2019, 2018, 2020, different cloudless composites available. And we will use the 2021. How to do this? So what you have to do is copy this fellow. Let's copy this fellow. Let's copy this text. tiles.maps.eox.at/WMS. Come to QGIS, go to layer, add WMS layer. Normally you would go to add raster layer, you will add your TIFF file, your IMG file and all that here. But right now I'm showing you something which is newer, I would say. We will add a WMS layer. No one is also giving WMS layers for EO products, but not high resolution satellite data. So I thought this is the option. So you click on new, you paste that URL here, write some name, let's say Sentinel 10-meter satellite data, and that's it. Just click on OK. Next, I think you have to click on connect. So what it is doing now, it is connecting to that server and it is retrieving a list of WMS layers that they have. Not only one, they have several, I think a few hundreds of them on their website or on their WMS layer. So you see there is a black marble background, coastlines. You can experiment, add each of them and see what you get, okay? Right now, I'm just in interest of time, I'm taking this Edge to Cloudless 2020 and I will click on this add button and I think that's it. I just have to, I will just wait for it to pop up here. Yeah, once it has popped up, I will close this. Now what you're seeing is 10 meters Sentinel natural color composite for the Ludhiana area. Okay. Same thing you can do for your district. You can take the shapefile, take the JSON file, query it for your district. Let's say you are in Chandigarh, you take the Chandigarh district and you add the sentinel layer. This sentinel layer is for the whole world. Okay, if I zoom out, I've zoomed out a lot. So it is trying to show the sentinel composite for the whole world. I'm not interested in that data. I'm just interested in Ludhiana currently. Okay, and so why am I seeing the whole world? I just wanted Ludhiana district. So to do that, all you have to do is change the ordering of these two layers. Change the ordering of these two layers. So you can click on the sentinel layer and drag it and drop it below. Drag and drop. Okay? That's it. Now you see why we did an outside fill. Because I want to hide whatever is there outside. I don't want to show what is there outside. I just want to see, I want to make the polygon hollow and fill outside with a default color. You could make it simply white. This makes it look better. See white. So now it appears as if I have just clipped the satellite data for my region. Same thing can be done. You can download Landsat or Sentinel, stack them, clip them, and then add to GIS. It will give you the same effect. I have just added it through a WMS and inverted polygon fill. So the disadvantage here is I am not able to save this satellite image on my desktop. Okay, that is the disadvantage, but I can make a map without having the data on my desktop. Okay, in the meantime, let me also save my project. Sometimes QGIS acts has a little mood on its so my it may crash. So I have saved it. Next time, if it crashes, I can just click on this file, my project, and I will have everything as it is back. Okay. So, well, I have everything I need. I just need to add my labels. So I will go to Ludhiana and I will add the name. So this option here is for labels. I make my mouse here, it says labels. You have to say single labels and change the value district.
तो आज कर लिया ना, उसको बताना नहीं है कल.
It adds the district name here.
30 minutes रखना है, खाली टूल ऊपर जितना टूल है खाली बताना ये क्या करता है, क्या करता है.
Buffer around it, text buffer. So now it appears well. But I don't like this font, so there are again hundreds of fonts here. Symbology is something where the Hindi
करना है, उन्होंने करना है.
works. The more you add G to it, the more tastier it becomes. So you keep changing, playing around with these type of font, color, and height, and all that, and you will come to an optimum solution. So let's take times italic and 16, and I have Ludhiana here. Very good. अब एक और चीज ऐड करेंगे. One more type of data we will add. We will add one point data. I want to add the location of PRSC. ठीक है? So how will I get the location of PRSC? Very good. I need a GPS receiver for that. Yes, probably. Or there are other low-cost solutions. You could. So the best solution would be, if you want millimeter accuracy, go buy a DGPS, 2 lakh rupees. If you want a cheaper solution, go buy a handheld receiver, maybe 20,000-30,000 rupees. Usse bhi cheap, you buy a mobile, install an app, something like GPS Tools. I think there is a app called GPS Tools, which gives you the coordinates of that, obviously with a 5-meter error, but I think building, if you stand in the middle of the building, you will get the right coordinate. So that is one thing. अगर उतना भी नहीं करना है तो go to Google Maps, search for the location you want to go to. So let's say I want to go to PRSC. Okay, also I have written in the coordinates of PRSC, but for example they want to do it for their own region. I want to find out the coordinates of IIRS or Chandigarh University or Pune University or Chitkara University for that matter. Just search this on Google Maps and on the URL, इसको web address बोलते हैं ना URL. On the URL itself, you will see. Let me copy this one. Not very visible here. Let me put it on Notepad. So this is the URL. Okay. URL मतलब समझते हैं आप लोग सब web address, google.com is the address. So we're saying once you search for something, let's say I search for Chitkara University. So let's go to the Chandigarh campus. Okay, and just click on this, and it will come up with this URL. Just copy this URL, paste it on Notepad, and you will see the coordinate right in front of you. This is the coordinate, 30.74 degrees north, 76.78 degrees east. Okay, so this is the cheapest, easiest way, but obviously this is not the best way. अब आपको कहीं जंगल में जाके किसी पेड़ का लोकेशन निकालना है तो वो इसमें नहीं मिलेगा, but prominent building, something which you can find on Google Maps, you can get the location just by the URL of the location. Okay, so I have the URL which is 30.91
तो 70 Z क्या है?
degrees north and 75.81 degrees east. Okay, so I have my location. What I need to do, I need to make a simple text file and have these. So 30.9 is my latitude. That's latitude. 75.8 is my longitude. Okay. And let me call this as C. You can have multiple other points. Let's say I want और क्या फेमस है लुधियाना में बताइए इस तरह लुधियाना रेलवे स्टेशन हो सकते हैं. So I want the Ludhiana railway station coordinate also. I will paste it here. Let's call it railway station.
Very fascinating. This is करता है मुझे जब जाता
So what I'm making is technically called a comma separated values file or the CSV file. I have my header. This is my header row. I can have multiple attributes. Right now I'm taking only one attribute, that is name, lat and long. Okay. You are in the agriculture department. You want to find out all the agricultural assets. Forest department, you want to create a map of the rest houses. You want to create a map of colleges, hospitals, schools. Nothing. Just write the name of your school or the name of the schools and the latitude and longitude as different rows. Okay. Once you have all of them, save it as a text file. Simply save it like a simple old text file.
किसी पर्टिकुलर चीज जो बिल्डिंग है
and let's call anything. Let's call it points. And go to QGIS. Go to layer, add delimited text. If you have data in an Excel sheet also, you have names of attributes of your of your area of your property of interest, and you have latitude longitude. Okay? In Excel, you have an option to save it like a CSV file. Okay, save it and open QGIS.
बंद कर देना, ये लेक्चर खत्म होते ही बंद कर देना.
Add delimited text.
सेव कर देना बस.
Browse and select that file.
रिकॉर्डिंग शुरू हो जाएगी, मतलब सेव होनी शुरू हो जाएगी.
डन ऑप्शन आता है ना ऊपर जो डन लिखा है.
डन कर दो, अगर डन करना है तो डन कर दो, नहीं तो एस्केप प्रेस कर दोगे ना.
ओके, स्टार्ट होता रहेगा.
एक्सपोर्ट शुरू हो जाएगा. ठीक है. वैसे तो अगर आपको डन करना है डन नहीं कर सकते. दोनों
अभी मुझे नहीं लगता कल मेरा लेक्चर अभी तो.
And if you have marked it as lat long, it will automatically read which is the X field, which is the Y field. All that you need not change anything. In this case, you need not change anything. Just click on add and close.
यहाँ पर आ जाओ अगर कमिट करूँ मैंने.
अगर वो दूसरा बंद करके जाएगा तो बंद करके चला जाएगा.
नहीं उसको बोलते हैं ना वो देखेगी.
देखेगा और सब बंद करके जाता है.
I have 2 points. Okay, one is ERC campus and one is the
लेक्चर चलेगा उतना बेहतर हो जाएगा.
कितना घंटा एक्सपोर्ट करेगा?
आधा घंटा मिनिमम लगेगा.
तो आधा घंटे के लिए तो ठीक है.
मैं बोल भी देता हूँ.
Registration access. Remove this from the text file. Save again.
आपका लेक्चर है.
But you could have multiple rows. The idea of telling is that you can have multiple rows here. So it will create a point map of all the points of interest. So I will add my text here.
वापस नहीं बदला, गलत कुछ नहीं है.
Now I have a simple point here. I want to make it, I want to visualize it better. I want to put a different marker symbol here. So there are several inbuilt marker symbols in the layer styling panel. You can make it a square. Just to show, I'll make it smaller later. You can make it into different shapes which are built in. They are also made into categories. In my small interface, you are not able to see, but there are markers for different categories. Like, let me show you. So if there are different markers for accommodation, amenities, arrows, backgrounds, health, landmarks, so many other things, emergency symbols. So you can have different properties as different markers. Okay, right now I don't want to use a marker. I'll use a simple marker, something like a star, and change the size. Yeah, size is good. Make it a little bright. Yeah, of course you can make it look anything like you want. Just trying to save time here. So, and I want to add the label PRSC to it.
कैसे बनेगा? पूछो उनसे कैसे बनेगा? पूरे साल में मैक्सिमम वैल्यू एक पर्टिकुलर मंथ होगी और मिनिमम वैल्यू एक पर्टिकुलर मंथ होगी. मीन वैल्यू आप उसका इसलिए आप और आवरली डेटा थोड़ा ले रहे हो. अगर आप आवरली लोगे हर घंटे का डेटा लोगे तो 24 hours
So I did a lot of things. Basic idea is there are so many options here. You need to find time. You have to invest time to understand these different options. One is to change the font, the size, style, color, type of buffer you want. You can change the case, uppercase, lowercase. You can draw some background. You can drop shadows. बहुत सारी चीजें. One day is not enough to just explain the styling options. Okay, so now I have my basic GIS data on the map. I have a district boundary which has a label, I have satellite data, I have the point of interest which has a label and a marker symbol. So basic stuff is there. Next I need to make a map out of it, put it into a piece of paper which I can print along with other map elements like the name, grid and all that. To do that, I will go to project and there are options called print layout. Map composer is called the print layout here. You can create several layouts, so there is a layer manager to help you do all that. Let's go to print layout and yeah, so this is my layout. This is where I will put my map and all that. You can change the size. This is A4 by default. You can go to page properties and you can change it to, if you want a plotter print, something like A0 or some other size, you can simply type and type the value here, how many mm by how many mm, and you can change it. Right now, not changing anything. Next thing is you can add several things. You can add the map, you can add pictures, labels, legends, scale bar, arrow, so many different things. Okay, so let's start by adding the map. So whatever map I am seeing there, I can simply drag and drop on this piece of paper and that will be rendered here. So whatever I am seeing in my QGIS, this thing will come on my layout. Okay. So there I have it. I can set the scale. I want a little bigger or smaller. All that I can. So I want to increase it a little bit. I want to shift it down, shift it up. Okay. So I have my data here. In the item properties, there are several options to set the extent, add grids. I want grid at every half a degree. If you want more higher frequency, let's 0.25 or 0.1, depending on how frequently you want the grids in the X direction and the Y direction. You can change that. Let's say I want at 0.25. It's too much, but fine. Let's go along with this. At every 0.25 degrees. Next, I want the lines not to be prominent. So I want them to be really thin and in a gray color or something. Not black. Right. So although it looks very faint here, but when you get the print, you will see that they are still very prominent. Next, what I want to do is I want to add a frame around this. There are different styles of frames. Zebra, then interior text, exterior text, middle text, line border. You need to experiment with each of them to find out the benefits of all of them and just doing it a little fast. Next, we will add the coordinates. So let me just zoom in and tell you what I am doing. So I selected this option, draw coordinates. It added some coordinate line. But it would be better if I had it with something like degree east and degree north and all that, with minutes or seconds and all that. I'll give you what. But I don't want all these zeros to come here, unnecessary. So I'll remove this, make precision as 0. So now this looks better. 75 degrees, 15 minutes east. 30 degrees, 45 minutes north. I want these on the left and right edges to be vertical rather than horizontal. So all that. So there are several thousands of options. Left is ascending, right is descending. So now I have my coordinates, which look like this. Okay. So I have coordinates, I have my data. Next, Next thing I need to do is okay, nothing in the grid. Checking. Alright. So since the data is being streamed, it has but it is there. Right now it is not showing. Anyways, let's focus. Let me get an image here. I want to add the image of the PRSC building. So you can again use Google or go outside, take a photograph of PRSC, and so yeah, you can just save any of these images. So I already have one. Building image which I have downloaded and edited slightly from Google. Okay, and I want to add this image. Normally people do very creative stuff. You have bird sighting maps, maps where of trees and all that, and people add these bird images or tree images and all that. So you can be as creative as you want. The options are the same: add picture, add map. So we'll add a picture here. We'll just identify the area where I want. It is an image. So I will select that image, and there I have my PRSC building on my map. Next, I want to add an arrow to this. So there are several types of arrows which can be added. Starting from here to here, something like this. I want the arrow to look little different, color-wise and all that. You can do it. I am not doing it right now. Let's add labels. So the first is the title. So drag the area where you want the title to be, then type the data you want. So satellite image of Ludhiana district and location of PRSC. Then you make it into a big gold font, something like 36 or something. 36 is too large. Okay. So I have my title. I want a north arrow. So we'll go add north arrow. There are again several types of north arrows. Feel free to beautify this further. Just in interest of time, I'm not doing it right now. Then you can add a scale bar. So we'll take add scale bar, drag the area where I want it. Again, there are different types of scale bars. It could be a single box, a double box, sticks, up, down, stepped line, hollow, numeric value, several things. I'll use a simple middle line. Okay. So it appears like this 10, 20. 0, 10, 20 kilometers. There are several ways you can beautify this. I want this to be at 5 kilometer divisions. 0, 5, 10. Okay. Some people like it to be very small and unidentifiable generally, but we want it to be little bold and identifiable what is the scale of the map. So weight the font a little bit. बस इतना ही करना और क्या करना है? Again, all these steps are given here. Most of you have downloaded it already. So we have the north arrow, we have the grid, scale bar, satellite data, image, arrow, everything is there. That's it. Let's export this to a image file. a simple JPEG image which you can use to put in your report or in your thesis, or you can export it to a higher resolution DPI if you want for printing, something like 300 or 600, or a lesser resolution like 90 or 150 if you want it just to visualize in your system. Once it is over, you will get a prompt here saying the export is successful. Just wait for that. And that is pretty much it that I want to show you. If you have questions, please type on the chat box. The handout has been shared by Sausa already, I think on the WhatsApp group. Also, these are my pointers. If you face any difficulty, you want to know more, there are a set of videos made by me along with the data which is available here on this link, bit.ly/QGIS-IIRS. There are a set of 3 videos and the data, you can use that. So this is exported. Let's go to my system and see how it looks like. And I want everybody to follow this. Make a map. It is very simple. It is, although I took a lot of time, more than an hour to show you, but if you start doing it yourself, WMS layers.
So please share your URL.
So it is Prasun, PRASUN @iirs.gov.in. And let's export this again.
है ऐसे ही हमको कल एक कुछ वेक्टर लाइन, ये लाइन, रोड लाइन, रोड रेलवे, कुछ विलेज पॉइंट,
स्टैटिस्टिक्स, लाइन स्टैटिस्टिक, बेसिक वेक्टर स्टाइल की चेंज डिटेक्शन कैसे होता है इमेज में, ठीक है।
इमेज का अभी क्यों बता रहे हैं? इमेज रास्टर आ गया ना।
You can also export it to a PDF file.
क्लिपिंग कैसे होती है?
So there you go. I have now a simple PNG file.
जैसे भी बताया
So the PNG file, a satellite image for your area, for your district, with the district boundary, with the location of your college, a photograph of your college or university or institution, along with the grades. What else? If we can teach this to our students on a software which costs 0 money, and I don't think we need to look into paid options. Okay, thank you very much. That is it from my side. I'll take questions if you have questions. Thumbs up over to you.